Today I'm going to find out if any variations of normal famous cereals are actually any good. Because just looking at them makes me want to kick and scream more than when my ex-wife keeps texting me to send the alimony checks, as if I have money. To be honest with you guys, I really hate change. And that is super ironic, coming from a guy who's lived in 3 different states, at 3 different colleges in just 3 years. When I'm comfortable in a situation, I just want to freeze time and keep everybody where they're at. But the truth is I'm really bad at maintaining those situations. You know, I just want to freeze time and stay there for all of eternity. So hopefully I can do a better job this time. How does this relate to random cereals, like, at all, you might ask? Well, it seems to be companies' favorite thing to do to just randomly change things in an attempt to make more money, as if they need it. And along with that, my therapist said I needed to face change head on or something. So in order to address that issue, I'm gonna rate these cereal spin-offs that make my skin crawl. To be honest, I've never really understood the need these brands feel to keep throwing crap at the wall. I mean, if you have a good cereal, just be happy with that. Like I said, it isn't like your franchise isn't some money printing machine. And I'm gonna be real, it's not like no good has ever come out of this process. I mean, the 3 Captain Crunch varieties are sitting on top of their throne as the standards of good cereal. But then again, one of the most abominable of all creations also came from the Captain. So I guess it always balances out. Now today I have 6 different cereals to try, and they all fall under different kinds of variation from their parent cereal. Some change, not a thing, and they're just the exact same thing as the original. And then on the other side, some change way too much and are a completely different cereal from the parent cereal they're trying to connect it with. And I promise you, I will try to remain as unbiased as possible in this process. And I also promise you that I will undoubtedly fail to do so. Because none of this changes the fact that just looking at these cereals makes me want to chug some Monster Energy and take out all my life's frustrations on the drywall.
And this is just going to need to have a whole section replaced.
And believe me, I have plenty of life's frustrations to completely subdue that drywall. On that note, let's get started. Cinnamon Toast Crunch Cinnamon Rolls. To be honest, I'm not really sure how this one makes me feel right off the bat. Now, Cinnamon Toast Crunch Regular is one of my favorite cereals of all time. I will always go to it when I'm looking for something good and familiar. It may not always hit like a 10 out of 10, but it will always be a solid 7 or 8. Along with that, CTC is responsible for some of the best varieties ever made. For example, French Toast Crunch is incredibly underrated. I always have a box in my pantry. If you're looking for a cereal that tastes exactly like the thing it's flavored after, you have to buy French Toast Crunch because they're just little cute baby pieces of French toast. They're so maple syrupy, you have to buy it. And I also wasn't expecting much out of Cinnamon Toast Crunch Churros, but that honestly ended up being the best cereal I have ever had dry. But Cinnamon Toast Crunch Cinnamon Rolls. First of all, what a mouthful. Second of all, I just don't understand the need for another member of this lineup when there's already so many. Also, cinnamon rolls, as a food, is a little bit overrated, and I'm gonna get so much hate for that. And I know I'm just stomping on a lot of people's just favorite food of all time, but the truth is, in my opinion, I think cinnamon rolls have to be cooked perfectly to even have a shot of being on par with donuts or pancakes or waffles. You know, it's a good player, it's a good team, but it's not gonna win in a league full of stacked competition. You know, there is no time I will choose soggy dough covered in suspicious icing over any of the other options. I'm sorry. After trying the dry test, this cereal's permissible, but there's a big problem because I can already tell a difference in texture from the original Cinnamon Toast Crunch and this. Now, there are crunchy cereals and there are puffy cereals. No one's really denying that. Crunchy cereals, the type that has the roof of your mouth bloody and in shambles afterwards. You know, eating it can be kind of painful, but I think the crunch is worth it. Puff cereal has an easier eating experience, you know, you're not gonna get hurt doing it, but it also isn't really worth it because it gets soggy after like 20 seconds of milk. Now, I will eat either type, even though I have definitely a slight preference, but my main problem is you can't have crunch in the name and tie it to all these crunch-related products, every single member of their line, and then have the puffiest cereal to ever exist. This cereal is puffy, and I tried it in milk, and it tastes like crap. Which, to be fair, they probably got the texture and sogginess from its namesake. But yeah, if I finish this box, which I probably will because it tastes pretty decent, I will not be using milk with it. Overall, I'm gonna have to give Cinnamon Toast Crunch Cinnamon Rolls a 3 out of 10, which is definitely harsh, but keep in mind that each of these cereals will be losing extra points if I feel like its creation hurts the brand more than it helps it, and that is definitely one that I think just shouldn't exist. Not to mention, I can already feel my blood pressure rising and me getting angry, and the thoughts of change just making me feel. Anyways, next cereal. Next up is Trix Tracks with marshmallows. Now, I have never been the biggest Trix guy in the world, and I have never hidden that from anybody. I don't think they're necessarily bad, but I just think Fruity Pebbles wins that fight every single day of the week. And one of my mods, Dreamweaver, would certainly agree with me on that. On frequent occasion, he will buy an entire, family-sized box of Fruity Pebbles and just devour the whole thing in one sitting. Also goes through a gallon of milk in the process. It is probably the most godforsaken thing I have ever witnessed in my life. But dang do I respect him for it. But if there's one category that I will keep an open mind about, it's a cereal that I really honestly think could use some improvement. If your cereal sucks, you may as well throw some extra crap in there and see if people like it better. And honestly, I think it worked. Trix Tracks with marshmallows falls under two different categories of variation. First, it changes the off-putting fruit shapes into cool dinosaur-shaped ones. Kinda genius, considering they'll have every single dinosaur-obsessed 5-year-old hooked with that move. Secondly, it adds something new to the formula to kinda jazz up the taste a little bit. And with this one, they obviously chose marshmallows. A historically good choice, to be honest with you. And I'm gonna cut to the chase a little bit on this one, but it straight up fails the dry test. But I will say, I think the only cereals worth eating dry are probably the crunchy ones, and this is a very puffy one. But when it comes to the wet category, Trix Tracks is not bad in the slightest. It's honestly tough, because I had some serious bias against Trix before going into this. But honestly, it wasn't even bad. This is a cereal that's actually worth eating, unlike normal Trix. I mean, if I like Lucky Charms, how can I really review it poorly? The fruity pieces with the marshmallows is definitely better than whatever the heck Lucky Charms is putting with the marshmallows. Those crappy freaking brown pieces that suck. And I love Lucky Charms, so I guess I have to give this a decent score. I'm gonna give this one a 6 out of 10, and I'm gonna be honest with you right now, that's by far the highest score that any of these are gonna be. The only reason it's not any higher is because it's absolutely worse for you. Pumping more sugar into your product to make it taste better is not really impressive. Anybody could do that. In fact, multiple people have done it. I'm looking at you, Frosted Flakes. And I mean, for crying out loud, dude, Trix are for kids. You can't just put more sugar into the kids' cereal that is already an increasingly obese America. For crying out loud, dude. Do better, Trix. Moving on. We have Reese's Puff Minis, and this is one that's starting to make me angry. Everyone knows the standard for sugary cereal known as Reese's Puffs. And yeah, I said Reese's Puffs. What? What are you gonna do about it? Reese's Puffs, Reese's Cups, and wait till you hear this one, Reese's Pieces. What, that make you mad? Now you know just a sliver of what I feel when I have to review these pieces of crap cereals. If you're going off taste, the main version of the cereal is pretty dang good. I mean, if you're going for nutrition on the other hand though, good luck eating a bowl of these every morning and not speed running a life full of diabetic complications. And the thing that makes me especially mad is what could you possibly do to change Reese's Puffs and make it a different variety? There's no other flavor you could do. I mean, the brand is rooted in chocolate and peanut butter. You also can't really put marshmallows in it like so many other brands put in their cereal. Obesity rates would probably somehow skyrocket even further if that happened. And you know, if there's no variation or spin-off you could really make, you think they would just stick to the one they had. After all, it's so successful already and there's no real room to innovate. But no, that's not what they did. They just changed the size. They took what they already had and just made it smaller. That is probably the most capitalistic innovation I've ever heard. It is just genius. And thanks to Reese's Puff Minis, I now have to address a topic I was hoping to not have to in this video. And that is ball to spoon ratio. When eating a bowl-shaped cereal, what is the appropriate amount of balls to have in the spoon per bite? In my educated and professional opinion, I think 5 or 6 balls is a good big bite. 4 might be acceptable, but anything less, I mean, it's gonna take you 5 hours to finish the cereal. Anything more, you're gonna go 7, 8 balls at once? I mean, that's just too much. And when you're eating a cereal, it's a pretty easy strat to keep track of, but with the minis, don't even get me started. 1 spoonful of these guys is gonna be like 25 balls? No, thank you. I feel like I'm eating some perverted version of Dippin' Dots when I eat these things, and that is not a good thing. Dippin' Dots is definitely the most overpriced and inefficient way to eat ice cream there has ever been. Dry test, these are fine. They taste exactly like Reese's Puffs. Wet test, they're also fine. They taste exactly like normal Reese's Puffs, but small. Except they also taste watered down because I guess it's harder to fit as much flavor in such a small ball. To be honest, I have never encountered such a pointless and backwards product in my life. Reese's Puff Minis, with zero hesitation in my heart, gets a 1 out of 10. You, more than any other cereal on this list, just should not exist. Alright, I need to do one that'll calm me down a little bit. Let's do Frosted Flakes. Cinnamon French Toast flavored. I was gonna try to avoid doing any flavors in this video because I feel like that's a strategy that actually has worked in the past. For example, there's Fruity Pebbles and there's Cocoa Pebbles. 2 good options, 2 amazing flavors. That's a win-win. And Honey Nut Cheerios was introduced like 40 years after the normal Cheerios. And to this day, that is one of the most popular cereals there is out there. It's a strategy that has worked multiple times throughout history, but it's not one that all brands can pull off. Frosted Flakes is already a sugarized version of a different cereal, Corn Flakes, much like Honey Nut Cheerios was. So the question is, can you barely change the method of sugarization in some attempt to make a new cereal altogether? And the answer to that is no, not at all. Upon the dry test, the first thing I noticed is that these pretty much taste the exact same as normal Frosted Flakes. And as crazy as it sounds, if you have these in milk, they will also taste the exact same as normal Frosted Flakes. No real difference. Because I guess the truth is if you have powdered sugar flavoring, icing type thing, and also have cinnamon French toast flavoring, and they're all just processed so hard, they end up tasting the exact same. I mean, there's probably not a real ingredient in this whole thing. Along with that, is this flavoring not kind of stepping on some toes, Kellogg's? I mean, let's be real, Cinnamon Toast Crunch kind of has a corner on that whole cinnamon flavored market. Not to mention, Cinnamon Toast Crunch also has its own French toast flavorings. If you want to play with the big dogs, you can, just not with this crap. And Frosted Flakes might think they're a big dog too, but their entire ad campaign is driven by a tiger with a Larry the Lobster build, and commercials full of athletic kids as if Frosted Flakes isn't 0 grams of fat, 2 grams of protein, and 40 grams of sugar. I don't even mind normal Frosted Flakes, they're probably 6 out of 10 for me. But there's just nothing else to do with it. Your options are either cornflakes or cornflakes with sugar. There shouldn't be anything else. Just be happy with the $13 billion you made last year, Kellogg's. How about that? And you clearly aren't making too much money off these bad boys, considering I got this box for $2 because they're just trying to get rid of them. These are not selling at all. This is a 2.5 out of 10, it's just not different enough from the original. Let's do Fruity Pebbles Crunch now. Fruity's Pebbles Crunch with snackable, crunchy rockstar shapes. Yay, so fun! Yeah, gag me with a spoon. Gag me with that 25 ball to spoon ratio Reese's Puff spoon. Now I'm just genuinely upset. If you want a fruity cereal, like I said earlier, go with Fruity Pebbles. Besides that, there's no real competition, it's just Trix and Fruit Loops and they're not as good. And when you're already the king of your category, what's the need to innovate? They do have a marshmallow variety, which is a little different, even though I don't know why all these cereal brands who are already full of sugar feel the need to add more, as if their cereals aren't already candy for breakfast. But no, instead of adding marshmallows, Fruity's Pebbles Crunched is just a completely different cereal altogether. Now I'm gonna put up a picture of Fruity Pebbles Crunched, study it, give it a good look. Now I'm gonna put up a different cereal, and I wanna know what you guys think. See any similarity? Because you should. Because this, in every single way, is just Fruit Loops 2.0. I'm not sure what their goal was here. Was it just another money-hungry, like, business-type move? That's probably it, but I think a more fun theory is that they were just trying to, you know, flex on Fruit Loops and say, hey, our normal cereal is better. We're gonna make the same as yours and also make it better. Either way, I'm not really happy about it. This should not exist. And I know this whole video is just me bringing up a cereal and then ranting about it and then saying, oh, this shouldn't exist. And yeah, that's exactly what this video is. Like I said, I hate change, and these aren't just normal changes, these are stupid, dumb changes for idiots. And the worst part is, they're not even bad, like I'm definitely gonna finish this box. Both wet and dry, it's just like Trix and Fruit Loops in every way possible, except it's crunchier, and it makes it way better than the other two. Trix and Fruit Loops, you may as well stop making cereal at this point. Not only is Fruity Pebbles normal better than your cereal, but this also is now too. That has got to be embarrassing. I'm still giving these a 4 out of 10 because I think their entire existence is just for pettiness sake. It's still a regression from normal Fruity Pebbles. Now I've said a couple times now that the only real options for fruity cereals are either Trix, Fruit Loops, or Fruity Pebbles. But I left one out, and one that's existed since the 90s. One that has survived miraculously considering not a single soul has bought a box of these. And if you have bought a box of these, click off this video and seek help. If you walk down an aisle of cereal and can buy anything like a kid in a candy store, and you buy these, you have deeper issues than my whole anti-change thing. Which is also only a little bit of a joke. I actually have some issues there. It's not just to drive along the plot of this video. I genuinely do not like change. But anyways, that cereal is...
Oops, all berries.
Oops, all berries?
Are you fucking kidding me? Oops, all berries?
Yes, Schlatt. Oops, all berries. The very cereal that I'm guessing started this whole stupid trend. There are so many problems I have with this cereal, and honestly, it's not even the taste. Oops All Berries is a cereal made entirely from the berries from their most popular variety. And the question you might be asking is if they taste good in the Captain Crunch the yellow box, why not try to put them on their own? After all, America has been waiting decades for Lucky Charms to do the same. And I mean, if we're gonna do crap like this, let's just do the all-mallow at this point. Who wants the crappy Cheerio discount pieces if I could just have a cereal made entirely of marshmallows? But back to Oops, the problem is that Captain Crunch Crunch Berries, these pieces, in their best cereal, is not the same as the marshmallows and Lucky Charms. Do they help the cereal? Yeah. But that doesn't mean they define the cereal. While there is a Captain Crunch without Crunch Berries, there are no Crunch Berries without the Captain. They are simply the accent added to the original flavor, rather than being the main thing. Perverting that would be like filling a cereal box full of ground cinnamon sugar, using Cinnamon Toast Crunch branding and labeling it Oops All Cinnamon. It just doesn't work. I can't help but feel like something is missing the entire time I eat these. And that's because, simple enough, there is something missing. Like I said, their taste isn't appalling. I would still take these over Trix if I'm being honest. But why ever choose to eat what is a lesser version of a better cereal? There just isn't really a need for it out there. Oops All Berries is a 2 out of 10, and it's only that high because of its one good use. A sanity test. If you're over at someone's house and see this in the pantry, run and get away from them as fast as you can. I promise you, you are in grave danger. Do not associate with people who eat these. Do not associate with people who buy these. Not including me, because I bought these for the video. obviously. In conclusion, the only cereal worth buying specifically out of this entire list is probably Trix Tracks. That's the only one that's either as good or better than the original product, and it's definitely better than normal Trix, I'll give them that. The rest of these are just so far from what I would consider to be holy. Next time you're in the cereal aisle, do yourself and everybody else a favor, and just buy the cereal you already like. Stop giving these companies more money because they think their process is working. There's no need for them to reinvent the wheel, so stop supporting it. Good cereals already exist and they have well-established mascots and branding. If you want to do something different, Post, Kellogg's, General Mills, make an actually new cereal. We all know you have the money and the branding it would take to create a new cereal. If that's what you want to do, go ahead and do it. Otherwise, stick to the stuff you know. Also, this did absolutely nothing to help my fear of change. And that stinks because I've been all over the place in the past 3 years. I've lived so many different places. And it's really stressful. It's partially due to my own stupidity and also some bad luck along the way. I would for once like to stay in a place I enjoy instead of just restarting over and over again. And that especially stinks because I just got a text from my landlord and it turns out I'm being evicted. I guess asking for rent extensions until I get partnered on Twitch wasn't exactly appropriate. So looks like I'm moving again, so I have a random state wheel spinner to decide where I'm going next. All right, come on, big money. We're going for Michigan or Colorado? Michigan and Colorado. Michigan, Colorado. Come on. Vietnam! How did Vietnam get in there? Well, that spinner was legally binding, so I guess that's where I'm going. Thanks everybody for watching. If you could share this video with someone else, that would be awesome. And I guess I'll see you in the next one. From the jungles of Vietnam, baby!